I am so honored and grateful that Aaron has again blessed us with his presence. what a great intro! Because of course Aaron did place top 3 at LVO just this past weekend, and it was 7th last year, right? Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah, 7th. I think it was 7th. It was 6th or 7th, something like that. Honestly, can't remember exactly which one it was, but I did a little bit better, one step further in than I did last year.
Trending positive.
Pretty proud of that. Exactly.
So I know I made a video about this the other day, but I'm just going to quickly kind of go over your list, just for everybody listening. So it was Zogrock's Ironmongers, which is an army of renown for Ironjawz. Yeah, 5 drops. It has the Ironmonger spell lore, prayer lore, and manifestation lore. Battle tactics are Wrathful Cycles and Attuned to Gairan. We have as General Zogrock Anvil Smasher with the Ward Smashing Choppa. 2 units of minimum Ardboys, a reinforced unit of Brutes. The next regiment is the Ardboy Big Boss with Oi back to it, which I believe is the heroic trait. Nice. Yep. Yeah. A reinforced unit of Ardboys, and then 2 more units of Ardboys. So it brings us to a total of 6 units of Ardboys, with 2 of those units being together like a reinforced. So it's like 4 minimum units and then 1 reinforced unit, right?
Yes.
And then 2 War Chanters and a Weird Knob Shaman, with one of the War Chanters having the Great Wallapa, which is the artifact of power.
Yes.
All right, so I have so many questions.
All right, well, let's get to firing away at those.
So here's one that I asked you last time that we talked. Why did you start here? Like, what was it about the Ironmongers that brought you to write a list?
So I was playing a lot of like big pigs, etc., and these like highly mobile armies that I was enjoying, but they were very, very dicey. So like when you roll good, you crush the game. When you roll bad, it's like backbreaking. And I was looking for something that was going to be more consistent and didn't really care as much about how you roll the dice. Like you can roll hot or cold. It's like it obviously dice matter, but they don't matter that much to this list. So I was going for something that was like going to be more consistent, that was going to let me play 5-turn games, whether I roll good or bad, and leverage play skill and small edges over the course of a game to do well. I was trying a couple of different, more mixed and balanced lists, and they were fine. But I thought 20 brutes is like pretty darn strong. But it doesn't solve the problem it should have solved, which is the less dicey, right? I wanted something that was like more consistent. So the 20 brutes weren't doing it for me. I was playing some pinning lists. They were actually pretty fun. I was playing like 12 pigs, but they just there was like some matchups I was worried about, etc. So I was like, well, this is like kind of interesting, and I think it might be better than people think it is. And I just started testing it, and I just was winning all my testing games, and I was like, this might be like a real thing. So I started like really tuning it in, and it ended up being very strong. I think it's not like crazy strong, but I ended up like, and I also just really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would enjoy the playstyle that much, but I am like classically an infantry player. I love playing infantry a lot more than I like playing cavalry armies for the most part, which is kind of funny because I play Irondeath and Big Pigs a lot. But my favorite Irondeath builds are always the Thralls, and my favorite Ironjawz have always tended towards more infantry heavy. So it's actually kind of going back to the playstyle I did for a long time, which is kind of nice for me. But yeah, I liked the idea of it, and I thought it'd be fun. Plus, there's always that special the special snowflake status where you get to play an army that no one else plays.
Yeah, that's at the bottom of the meta. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love doing that. It's fun for me, and like it's an extra challenge, and it engages my creativity and competitive drive. So that was a big part of it for sure.
When you say that this is more consistent, is it just because it's throwing a much higher volume of dice?
In a way, yes, it is throwing a lot of dice, but it's also just one of those things where like, if I roll really hot, I'm at an advantage. If I roll really bad, I'm at a small disadvantage. But it's not like that significant. Like the dice, like 2s and 2s is consistent, right? If you think of it like that. But this is not 2s and 2s. This is consistent in the way of like, you just can't kill me, so I'm always going to get to play. I'm going to keep playing and playing and playing and playing. So I get to make more decisions in a given game. I may be on the back foot, but like, if a turn goes bad for big pigs, you can pick up 3 or 4 pigs, and I have nothing left in my army. If turn goes bad here, I lose like 20 Ardboys. I still have a huge swarm of guys moving around the table to let me try and crawl my way back into the game. Also, there's like lots and lots of opportunities to roll dice. Like for example, when I'm doing the prayer, I'm rolling that dice repeatedly all game long, and eventually luck has to turn the other way. If you just roll like over and over and over. Whereas like if you're playing a super aggressive army, you try to charge in, you fail that charge after reroll, you're like, well, that was huge. That was like game changing dice roll.
So it's more like it's more grindy. Like you're playing more of it's not like a big punch. It's like a slow, steady over the course of 3-4 rounds, really grinding into your opponent, right? And so there's more. So you hit closer to the average because you're not relying on a big swing, right? It's like you're gonna win in the long term. It's like a game of attrition.
And on top of that, it also doesn't really care if it's rolling good. Like it's very positioning oriented, and I just kind of stand there. And if you're not scoring over me, I don't really care if I'm killing you or if my guys are dying, as long as the score isn't changing. So like I don't have to kill you. You don't, and if you kill me, like it sucks. But like if it doesn't actually change how I'm scoring, then it doesn't really matter. Whereas like losing a couple pigs dramatically changes what I'm doing in any given part of the game. Here I'm like, if I lose a unit, it's not that big a deal as long as I can still score.
Can you tell me how you're using the different blocks of Ardboys?
Yeah, so a big part of it.
Sorry, okay, can I interrupt you just for a second? I just want to just remind everybody that's listening that the way that one of the rules for this army is that the Ardboys get a 5-up ward if they're wholly within 12 inches of another unit of Ardboys that have, I think, 3 or more models. I think. Yeah,
both units have to have at least 3 models.
Right. So there's a lot of like they have to stay close to each other, right? So sorry to interrupt, but how are you actually putting these Ardboys on the table? We got TTS up here too.
Yeah, so the big unit of 20 is like a thing that not everyone would probably maybe do, because like there's a lot of good reward for doing like 210 blocks because they give each other 5 wards, etc. This is kind of just a personal preference thing. I like having the big unit. It makes CP more efficient on that unit, so I have like some tools, but like it's probably just as good as 2 units of 10. Like it's just personal preference. But a big thing that I'm doing is I'm creating these like pairs. So I have like, let's say these two guys are kind of keeping the same area of each other. I'll have like this one between and then another pair. And so I have a lot of flexibility. I cover a lot of space here while giving all of these guys 5-up wards. And you can remove a significant number of units and have me still scoring, still having all my 5-up wards. So it's very hard to shut me down. And there's just a lot of wound density. So I'm taking up all this space and these kind of brutes are hanging out. Keeping people honest, because like normally you can come into these Ardboys, you're not really super scared, but if this brute's standing right here, it's like you don't really want to engage them because then I'm going to come in and hit you really hard. So there's kind of hanging out wherever I think the opponent's likely to try and come, or whatever my weak side is, because like this side right here is strong. The side with the 20 block is a little stronger. The side with the 10s is a little weaker, so whatever side I think they're going to go, I keep the brutes kind of over there and protect the Ardboys, because the Ardboys do not do damage at all. I mean, they do some, but it's not very much. But I'm kind of just using them to take up a lot of space and give each other 5-up wards and be really hard to kill and just continuously exist on the table, scoring points and denying points and blocking people down, basically.
And how are you using the heroes? Like what? Because like let's put the war chanters aside just for a sec, because I kind of want to talk about them like separately. But you have essentially 3 buffing heroes, right? One, the shaman's giving a 3d6 charge, I think, and
yeah,
he has that spell is unlimited, but you can still only cast it once per shaman.
Yes.
So he's like a 2 caster, right? Who gets like this Gork Rora. Right? Anyway, sorry. So how do you play these 3?
Yeah. So it is kind of like awkward, and I was debating with my team a lot about Gorkrora and whether or not I should bring this Weird Enough Shaman with the Gorkrora, because he only has the one spell, this endless spell, but he can only cast it once. And then I have the Gorkrora, and I only have one endless spell. So if he already has this in play, he can only cast one spell despite being power level 2 most of the time. It's kind of awkward. But really, I'm bringing him for the Gorkrora to buff up my War Chantas.
Right.
That's the big thing. But also, like, him just being able to buff these brutes. I only move 4, so being able to have 3d6 charges really helps me get a little bit more mobility, a little more threat range, and make it easier for me to actually punish someone's misplays, or if I lock them down, like I can actually do something more with that. And also, importantly, that spell lasts until your next hero phase, so I can countercharge
Right.
with the brutes.
I was going to
They have
ask that
3/6
question.
countercharge.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong.
Because that matters, right? If you put the brutes, if you move the brutes up behind some Ardboys and there's a little bit of a gap, and then you put a 3d6 charge on them, and then you constantly tell your opponent, you're like, hey, this is as a reminder, these guys have a 3d6 counter charge right now. You can change someone's mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of mind games going on. Them and like the War Chantas, and then like you're putting Zagrok's buff onto various units, whatever makes the most sense at the time. Oftentimes it's going to go into brutes, but like it's also pretty good on 20 Ardboys. And even on 10, it's still annoying. I put it on himself a lot, but it rarely comes up. But it's something I've done in testing and stuff like that. He's actually pretty darn good. And when he's next to these Ardboys, he has a 4-up pass off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a ward, but it goes onto the Ardboy unit. So he's actually he's pretty good in a fight, and very, very hard to remove. People always try to kill him, but it's really tough to kill him. So those heroes, and the Ardboy boss obviously improves my shield bashing. I think there's very much an argument for taking the Weird Knife Shaman into another Ardboy boss, depending on how you want to play. Like they're both good in different ways. I think if you're playing the brutes, you probably want this Weird Knife Shaman. But
whoa! I just plugged it into to my calculator or whatever. This can't be right. Maybe it is. With a 4-up ward, Zagrok has effectively 42 health.
Yes.
Which is
exactly.
Nuts. It's way higher than I was predicting it was going to be.
Yeah, he's very, very hard to kill, and people constantly underestimate how hard he is to kill. Same with the whole army in general. If my math is correct, I think when you're playing the 80 Ardboys build, which I did play for a bit, you have like a functional 677 wounds.
Well, let's see. It's pretty easy to calculate. So, yeah. I mean, Ardboys with a 5-up ward, that's this. So each one has effectively 90. So 90 times 6 is 540 effective health. Just in the Ardboys are going to be basically
I was playing list, right? When I was playing the 80, it was like 677. It was after the heroes and all that sort of stuff. It was a lot. and the point is, like, it's a lot. And it's tanky, but you don't realize how tanky it is until you sit there and you play against it. You're like, this will not die. Like I'm throwing everything I have into it, and it just keeps standing there. It just won't go down. And you can see people get visibly tilted. They're like, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind right now. Like I had Kragnos come in and he killed 1.5 Ardboys, and it was like, oops. Because the 2-up 5-up is disgusting. And then on top of that, I'm getting 12 rally dice with this Ardboy big boss on these guys. So like every time that they retreat, you got getting an average of 6 wounds, three guys back, but that's 6 wounds on the 3-up 5-up.
Yeah, which
so
is
it's
a lot.
Really hard. Like it's that back-breaking moment where people realize that they're no longer able to kill that unit. And before they're like, maybe, and then I'm like, retreat, like, okay, take D3, and I'm like, your hero phase, rally. And they're like, oh no. And then they realize they can't kill him, and they can't take the objective from him, and they're just like stuck, grinding it out. It's super, super hard to kill, but it does almost no damage. So you kind of solve that problem with the War Chantas, and their super, super powerful prayer. Without this prayer, I don't think this army's playable. I mean, it's memeable, but it's not competitive at all. The prayer basically lets me enchant a terrain piece with Gork Stomped. It's on a 5-up, so it's kind of hard to pray, but it's fine. That's why I bring the Gork Roar to help me get it going quicker. And basically get on terrain pieces, and that terrain piece for the rest of the game. So it's like, which I think is crazy. Like
the rest of the game is the part that's kind of over the top.
It's kind of over the top a little bit. I mean, to be fair, you're giving up some pretty powerful spells in the classic Ironjawz lore. But you do get the 3d6 charge here, so it's like you're still getting some of it, but you're not getting the +1 damage, and you're not getting so like there's downsides. But once you have these terrain pieces up, every time they do any kind of movement, so that's moving, charging, piling in, retreating, redeploys, hero phase D3 moves some armies have, stuff like that, every single time, if they start and when they end, so you can trigger twice per movement. Within 6 inches, not wholly within, just within 6 inches of that terrain piece, they're going to take a bad D3 of mortals. So it's 1, 2 does nothing, 2, 3 is 1, 5, 6 is 2. Or 3, I mean. Or 2. Anyway, you know what it is. Bad D3.
Bad D3.
Those numbers are all wrong that I said. But
2 up D3.
2 up D3. Now, that also was directly fact to say that it can trigger from multiple terrain pieces at the same time. So if you have 2 terrain pieces hitting them, when they move, if they stay within that zone, they're taking 4d3 mortals. When they charge, 4d3 mortals. When they pile in, 4d3 mortals.
Let's look at the table. I would love to see like what's like the first or last, like what's a map that you played?
The first round was on Surge of Slaughter.
Okay, Surge of Slaughter.
I think there's little 6, yeah. So it sounds pretty good, but it like doesn't sound as strong as it actually is. But to highlight how strong this is, let's just say that this terrain piece and this terrain piece got up, because I'm doing every hero phase. I'm chanting with both of them because it is an endless prayer. It's the only prayer you get. But like, let's say I have these 2 up, right? And I'm just sitting there, and I have a single unit of 10 Ardboys right here. You cannot come and fight this unit. You will die. Because if you move in to this area, this entire area is covered by 2 terrain pieces. So if you move in, you're taking 4d3 damage. When you pile in, you're taking 4d3 damage. Charge is 43. If you retreat, 43, 5d3 at that point. On top of that, I'm shield bashing you. So you come in, you take 8d3 mortals, bad d3, but still 8, and then you're taking 10 dice worth of 5-up shield bashes, and you're just taking like 15 mortals on the way in.
Right, because then, like you said, it's move and charge. So it's everything that has that move keyword.
It's not even keyword, really. It's just when you move, which is interesting to say the least. Because there's some abilities that don't have the move keyword, so you can use multiple of them in the same phase. Like with Feck, they can do multiple moves in the same phase. Both will trigger it. Pile-ins, and they'll end-step pile-ins. Like, there's all these things that they don't necessarily always have the keyword, but if you move, then you do it. You can also use movement abilities that don't move, and then you won't take it because you didn't move. So
right, like being set up, for example.
Existing in that space during movement phase is not going to cause mortals. Getting set up doesn't cause it, etc. So it's a little weird. But it's very, very strong. And oftentimes by the end of the game, I'm sitting here with like, all of these are up, and I'm just kind of hanging out, and you are never going to be able to take anything from these spaces. I have so many models just existing, like, and if you come in and charge them, you're just taking so much damage, and then you're not killing them, and you're stuck there. And if I get stuck in a grindy fight, I just retreat from you. You can't countercharge. Because if you countercharge, using 2 CP and then taking 4d3 mortals and being shield bashed again, and I got +1 rend against you. So you can't afford to do that. And it's super, like, it's really, really, really grindy. It's slow.
It's Nurgle.
It's basically Nurgle. Like, this list is very similar to playing, like, the 40 Blight King list. You can sometimes see people play
3 up, 5 up, mortal wound tickles all game long.
Yeah, I would say it's about as good as that. Like, like the power level's there, but it's super janky, and it's not like, it's actually not a super busted army. It has some rules that I think should be probably factor or added, but like, it has a lot of weaknesses as well. Like, this list is like, oh, the stats are crazy, but you're giving up a lot of utility for those stats. You only move 4 inches. You don't get Mighty Destroyers. There's no teleports. There's no run and charge. Your damage output's very low. It's consistent and it's grinding, but it's low. You have no burst damage. You can't like blow someone off the table. You cannot fight Gargants at all. Like, it's just like auto lose matchup. There's nothing you can do. It's a sort of list where, like, if you're good at playing the map and positioning, it's really hard for the opponent to beat you. But you're never really winning by more than like 5 points unless someone makes a critical error. It's a very nail biter sort of army. Every single game, like most of my games, I won by like 2 to 3 points.
How are you scoring your secondaries?
So the secondaries are super, super important for this army, and I don't think you can play any other ones here because they're critically important to how this army works. And also the reason this army is good now in this GHB versus before when it was bad is because of battle tactics and how they work now. Because this army, there's no way you're scoring like in the last GHB, you're gonna get like 2 to 3 battle tactics a game tops, and you're not gonna be able to stop them from scoring enough.
Yeah.
The way the battle tactics work now is very different, and you actually don't like really have to like score early. You know, getting behind is fine, which it used to not be. And so this army, you oftentimes will be starting the game behind. Your opponent will be scoring some battle tactics. They'll be more mobile than you. They'll be stealing objectives, but slowly you're going to catch back up. And you aren't really ever scoring all 6 of your battle tactics unless things have just gone perfectly. But what you're doing is attuned to gear end is take 2 units in the center. This unit already wants to do that. You just kind of like set up with some units, and you kind of have 2 Ardboy units side by side. They already want to be side by side. You hold up the center. They're super safe because of these terrain things you can do. Because a lot of places have 2 big terrain things in the center, so you're like setting up all this defensive thing. You already want to do that. Easy peasy. Retreating 2 and charging 2, also pretty darn easy. You already want to be retreating to be rallying and stuff like that, and to force people to move and charge again. And you have a whole bunch of melee units that are kind of nearby. And Purification Rise last one. I did score it once, but I've only scored it one time. But it's no enemy units in your zone, which usually there's like some small heroes, so you're never really going to get that. But you scored 10 points. That's not great, but the thing is, you're usually winning on primary. Once you get into position, your opponent is not going to take these center places from you. They'll be scoring like 8 points. It's usually like 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, and then you're like 8-10, 8-10, and then I'm winning by 4 points. Because by that point they're so ground down. Wrathful Cycles is also super important. So basically, I don't score early game. I intentionally don't. I kind of want to be behind at the beginning of the game. I'm getting extra CP and various map bonuses for being underdog. And then eventually, I go and score Wrathful Cycles by taking one more objective than them on that 10-point turn. And that's going to give me 5 points for having more objectives. And then if I'm still underdog at that point, it's a super, super easy battle tactic. So it lets me go from losing the game by a little bit to winning the game by a little bit. And that's kind of what this army does. You're not going to get blowout games, barring people not understanding what's going to happen in certain situations, which did happen in one of my games, or actually in 2 of my games. People didn't understand what would happen if they came into me. But it's really, really hard to stop me from scoring 20 on battle tactics consistently. And then I'm scoring somewhere around 40 points on primary over the course of the game. So I'm scoring 60 points. They are going to struggle to get a lot of battle tactics. They're going to struggle to score more primary than me. It's going to be really hard for them to get more than 60. It's not that they're not going to score 50, because they will. It's can they score more than 60? And the answer is frequently no. It's a very... They're like, I'm going to try, and then they try, and they try, and they try, and eventually they're just ground down into dust by these constant mortals that are coming through. And by the time the late game comes around, they don't have the ability to do anything. And every time they try and do these stealing an objective in the back, moving, take 2d3, take 2d3, take 2d3, and then I'm counter charging with something, or they're running into a unit to try and kill it, and then it kills them because they already took 8 mortals they didn't want to take. And so all these ways that you would normally be able to steal a game back from an army like this, it becomes really, really tough, because everywhere in my whole half the table, and sometimes over into yours, is just causing constant damage to you. And you have no idea how much it is. I had my first game against Leo that I played, because we played it twice. I did almost no mortals all game with my trees. I probably rolled 15 times and did 4 mortals. But eventually it's going to get you. So that last turn he moved his hero, and it took, of course, moving and charging took 15 or 16 mortals, and just died from full health.
Feels bad, man.
And it's just and you never know what it's going to be, so your opponent doesn't want to take those risks, and they're stuck. It's crazy. It's a really it puts a huge amount of mental pressure on your opponent to try and figure out a way to get past you. Meanwhile, I'm pretty much just going, walk, I stand here. Walk, I stand here. And so, but it's still hard. I have to be able to be very predictive. I have to really figure out what's going to happen. But it's puts the onus on the opponent to try and find a way to win. rather than you trying to find a way to kill them.
It's really different, right? It's like a really different way to play. Like this is, I think that this might be the only army in all of Destruction that plays this way.
Yeah, like it's the only other thing is kind of semi-similar is if you play a ton of Night Goblins, but like no one does that. So
no one does that.
And it's not that great. Although it does have some cool tricks, but yeah. It's a very unique style play for Destruction. It kind of feels like a Death army more than it does a Destruction army.
Ironjawz is so all over the board right now, right? It's like, because like I would still maintain, like I know that you did super well with this list, but I would still maintain that the best way to play pigs for your average AOS player right now is by playing pigs, right? I think that the mobility is there. I think that this play style is a much more high skill ceiling.
I definitely would agree with that. I think people are going to see this and they're going to be like, oh, I can win with this. And it's like, I mean, not if you're not willing to like study the maps and plan out movements against your opponents. And, like,
and play really, 10, 15 games like this, like, you know, play a ton or get a ton of reps.
A ton of reps and really consciously planning. Like I planned out for every single map, set out my guys on tables, thought about how I was going to move, how I was going to position, and, mapped out everything. And I always have a notebook, and I'm always like drawing out maps and like how I'm going to position, because if you don't position right with this army, you will lose, and you have no way to recover. There is no
you're slow
reversals. You're a glacier, and if you're headed the wrong direction, you're stuck. You're headed the wrong direction for the rest of the game, and you're going to lose. It's very hard to play. It sounds like it's easy to play. It's not. It's easy to play, hard to win with. You have to really be thinking about it, and it doesn't win by big margins. But it is good. It's quite strong. Actually, Ironjawz in general, I think, are solid right now. I think they're like pretty much perfectly balanced now after Battle Scroll. And by that I mean they're a 2-3, 3-2 army. That's a straight 50-50. You're gonna like there's tools to go 5-0 if you're really, really good. Like they have a high skill ceiling, and if you make a couple mistakes, you're going to crash on the floor. But most people are going 2-3-3-2, which is where armies should be. That is not to say they're a strong army. You know what I mean? Like they're perfectly balanced, and they're very fair in many cases. You're a combat army, in many cases.
Sure, but I think the problem right now, like, and again, coming at it from like an average Ironjawz player perspective, I think that, like I said, the two best ways to play are either like all pigs or maybe like, something like Zogrox. But most people don't have that. Most people, what they actually have is like every Ironjawz player, I swear to God, has a Mega Boss on Maw-Crusher, right? Everybody has like one big pig, maybe a second one unit of Gorgruntus, maybe a second one, right? Some Ardboys, some Brutes. And if you're playing like a mixed arms list, to me anyway right now, it feels really weak. It doesn't feel very good.
It's definitely like the Battle Scroll helped a lot. It definitely was a good thing for the Battle Scroll.
Cheap Brutes, The
Brutes got a lot cheaper. Some of the heroes got cheaper. All the infantry stuff got cheaper, and a lot of other stuff that was really, really strong went down. I think, in my personal opinion, fair and square Ironjawz are solid, but they're not the best way to play. I agree. Like the best ways to play them are very skewed lists. So, some armies want to play fair and square, But I did watch your video, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Like the best way to play Kruleboyz is spamming monster kills, which is a unit that's barely even a unit.
Yes, but if you don't spam Kruleboy, or if you don't spam monster killers, Kruleboyz is still a really good army. Like if you're just playing 1 or 2 units of monster killers, it's still a fantastic army. That's the difference.
You're not necessarily looking at that same sort of situation. I think also there's a lot of problems with Ironjawz in the sense that people want them to do a certain thing, and they do a very different thing than that. I like how they play now. I love it, and I've been a long time orc playing. I love this bit of tanky, clever in a very specific sort of way.
I like Mighty Destroyers.
Mighty Destroyers is super mean.
Right, I like that rule. It's a fun rule. I like it.
I think Mighty Destroyers is one of the strongest rules in the entire game.
I think, it's funny because, the honest wargamer, I'm sure you know who he is, but he says all the time that he thinks that Mighty Destroyers is a weak rule. And it blows, it's crazy. Like, to me, it's actually like, to me, it's crazy. It's like, how are you undervaluing so much this rule?
Yeah. The number one thing that Ironmongers is lacking is Mighty Destroyers. It's huge.
Well,
if this army had Mighty Destroyers, it would be like S tier. Without it, it's like B, I would say, which is like not bad. It's like I did do well, but like also in January I made top 8 with pigs when they had like a 35% win rate as well. I had huge amounts of reps, practice, get lucky with a couple of matchups, couple good dice rolls go your way. You'll get wins, but it's not like a crazy overpowered army. But if it had Mighty Destroyers, this army would be nearly unbeatable. Like actually kind of broken, and like that's how strong that rule is. Unfortunately, we're balanced around it in Ironjawz. It's kind of like old corn with the blood tithe stuff. Like all of your units have to kind of suck because that one rule is so crazy strong. And the thing it sucks for like newer players, people with less macro knowledge and don't know how every single army works and don't have the reps, is that like they're not going to use that particular rule to its maximum power, and then their army's just going to kind of be bad. You know, like if you put like a bad iron, or not bad, but a more beginner Ironjawz player versus like, let's say, a more beginner Stormcast player, Stormcast gonna win over and over and over.
Oh yeah, easily.
Like it's so. Just, but and lots of people when they fought me with Ironjawz, like, oh, it's a good matchup for you when playing Stormcast. I'm like, no, it's not. Like you do not want this matchup, because when you get the high skill levels, my source is crazy. It's crazy strong. But you have to be able to like know everything's going to happen your opponent's turn at the beginning of their turn, and know and during your turn know what's going to happen during their turn, and be able to predict and then stop it. And that is asking a lot. Yeah,
and positioning, right? Like I remember when I was first starting with AOS, playing in like some of my first leagues up here, and people would beat me with things I didn't even know that were like things that you could do. Like I remember somebody like pulled, like I killed a bunch of their unit. I was playing against so like Gravelords, and he just removed a bunch of zombies or something, and he pulled out of combat with me, and it made me lose a tactic. And I was like, I've never seen someone do that before, right? Like this I didn't know that was even a card you could play. So with Mighty Destroyers, you have to sort of know all the cards, right, to use it effectively, right?
Exactly. So kind of ironically, Ironjawz is not beginner friendly.
No, it's really not.
But it looks. The problem is it looks like a beginner friendly army, and it's not.
It's not.
It's like, and I think a lot of people get frustrated with that, and they feel like this army sucks. But because my story is balanced the way that it is, there's no fixing the army without making it broken at the top level.
I kind of miss smashing and mashing. Not gonna lie.
Me too. Well, I mean, sometimes, but it's kind of feel bad anyway for your opponent, where you're like, oh look, I just tabled your entire army. You have to activate it all.
But at least then, Ironjawz felt like one of the best melee armies in the game. With like, if we had that rule.
If we did have that rule, like, honestly, what I would love to see is if they fix some of the sub factions, like Iron Fist. It shouldn't be once per turn, and it shouldn't have to be the next. Like if you kill a unit, you get +1 to hit with your next activation. It shouldn't be once per turn. Like that way, it's kind of like a light smash and bastion, and you have some cool stuff where you're like fighting a very bruisery and like +1 hit.
Or also affect companion weapons.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of stuff needs to affect companion weapons, because it's like this just doesn't work, you know. It's annoying. A lot of the abilities don't work together, and the fact that you can't use a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher to get Brute Fist is like why.
Or again, it's like, I'm not sure if you saw my interview with Christian Robson, but he was playing like a Kragnos. His list was, he went 4-1 at Northern Wastes, but it was Kragnos, Gordrak, Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, one of the like Gouger, and then like 3 or 4 units of Rekkas, right, just to kind of like fill up the board and run around. But I feel like that's the only way that you can play Gordrak or Mega Boss of Maw Crusher, is if you're playing like a super elite big monster Ironjaw list.
Yeah, like obviously that one guy went 5-0, but that was, I think, a bit of a fluke. He probably rolled good when he needed to roll good, and obviously he played it well.
Was it 5 cabbages? Is that what the list was?
Yeah, sure. It's not good. It's not a good army. Like I promise.
No, I don't think so.
But if you play really well and you roll good, and you get the prios you need, you get the matchups you need, you can win, right? But like I definitely, it's not very strong. Like, and you know, props to him, 100%. Like that's impressive. But it does require quite a bit of luck for that to work out, I think. Yeah, it's annoying how like we have all these combat buffs and we have so many companion weapons, and there's like this ongoing issue of like there's the pig army and then there's the infantry army, and you can't really mix and match them most of the time. Although I might be doing that for WCW, we'll see. I'm testing some fair and balanced flexible lists right now, so we'll see. But yeah, it's a thing. I did fight Big Pigs round 2 with Gordrak and Kragnos, and that was a home run for me. Because like, what was he gonna do? He had one option, which is try and charge in before activated terrain pieces. I took top of one, activated one terrain piece, counter prayed to activate a second terrain piece. He went in, took too many mortals, bounced off me and died, and it was like, yeah, he killed like 6 Ardboys.
Are both of your chanters trying to use the Gork Rora together? Because they can each activate them separately, right?
I don't believe so.
I think Gork Rora doesn't have a once per game.
I think Gork Rora activates it. No, because Gork Rora targets a unit. I mean, I'll double check that because it'd be crazy if we could do that, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. There's always these like little rules that you don't. You think you understand how something works, then there's a subtle wording thing, but I'll double check that real quick.
I thought I had
it. It's your hero phase. Declare, pick a friendly Ironjawz, Cruel Boys, or Wizard, or Priest within 3 to be the target.
Why can't I find it? Right, so it's because for some reason I thought I was under the impression that the unit, like the War Chanter, is the one that's activating the ability. Yeah. Right, but if it's the Gork Rora, then you can only activate that ability once.
Yeah, interestingly, you can walk away from it after you activate it, like with redeploys or charges or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which is pretty cool, but yeah.
So you said there was an FAQ for this.
Yeah, so
it
was
for the move.
To clarify that you could be hit by 2 pieces of terrain at the same time.
I'm more interested because I know that people are going to ask. I know it's going to be like a question in the comments or in Discord after, but it's about the rule that it's about the fact that it says like move, right? Because I thought it was like anything with the move keyword.
No, so move keyword is usually is like a restrictive thing, saying like you can't use 2 move keyword abilities the same turn. But it's when you actually move, you have to physically move. The model doesn't have to move. A model in the unit has to move. But if a model, if they're within 6 of it and something moves for any reason, not being picked up in place, not teleport, like if you're measuring and moving a model, that's when it triggers.
It's funny because for GW right now, like in 4th edition, I feel like it's actually kind of a sloppily written rule. Right? Because you would think that they would either go with the keyword or they would go with like a list of potential things.
I agree. And like I've actually been kind of like pushing for that to be fixed because it is confusing. And also it's kind of a little too good. And like every single person's like, no way that works. And they all want to double check it. Because it intuitively shouldn't.
Right. So how would someone double check it? Because again, because when I like to be able to point someone to something, right? Because again, people are gonna say things, and I would love to be like, this is pinned to the Ironjawz channel, so it's like go check it out, right? Like this is the reference.
It's just in the Ironjawz fact, but I'll double check exactly where it is. I'm looking it up right now. I had it screen capped originally.
Don't get me wrong.
I knew it would come up.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong. I believe you, right? Because you couldn't be at a top table at LVO and play your army wrong.
Yes.
Like you wouldn't make it there.
People will ask.
Yeah, because people will ask, and then you'll have to be like, oh no, like this is, like a judge will, or something, right?
I'm trying to find it. Sometimes I have a hard time finding.
We can always find it after. We can throw it in the Discord and stuff like that too, right? Like we can. Yeah. We don't have to do this right now.
Can double read, but yeah, it's definitely there for sure.
It's just because I'm playing. Like I'm gonna play this army for the next 2 or 3 games just for my own edification. right? Just so I can, like be able to speak about it a little bit more intelligently, right? And I know that all my friends in town are going to ask. So it's like, hey, Damon, hey, Graydon, I hear you boys. I know you're out there. Like, I'm going to come at you with my FAQ game.
Yeah, it's let me find it. But it's definitely there for sure. I just need to figure out where the heck it went. It's under frequently asked questions in the rules update under Orc War Clans. It's not actually a change of rules, just answering a question.
Got a link for me by chance?
It's just on the. I'll send it over to you right now.
Okay, cool.
But it's on page 43.
Cool.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me see. I got some other questions here. Oh, thank you so much. I had Trombone send me some questions for you. He's like a very active member in the Discord.
Yeah.
Let's see. Which ones didn't? Oh, you talked to him a lot. Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah, we're always chatting in the Discord. So.
We talked about Mighty Destroyers. No Scourge of Gairan Rekkas. Was damage ever plan A? It was always a game of attrition. So here's like a little bit of a question. So when I built this list, right, for myself, I ended up having 6 foot heroes. I think what I did was, a reinforced unit of brutes, I believe, is 360 points, which is exactly the same points as a mega boss and a reinforced unit of Scourge of Gairan Rekkas.
Yes.
And I always sort of thought that with the Wallopa, right, the Mega Boss bringing the Wallopa, and the chain activation with the Rekkas, that might be a brute alternative. Do you want to tell me what you think about that?
Okay, yeah, I have several thoughts on that. So number one, that is a brute alternative. That is a good way to play the game. That is a useful thing to be doing. I don't think the Scourge of Gairan Rekkas Rekkas in general aren't super good without the classic Ironjawz lore for prayers. The +1 to damage. Without it, their damage is mid at best, probably to poor. +1 attack, chain activating into 6 attacks, goes from 6 to 7. It's only a 17% increase, so it's really not that much damage increase. Whereas when you put on brutes, it's more significant. But I don't have a Mega Boss in foot here. The reason for that for this particular list, so I'm not playing no Scourge of Gairan Rekkas because I don't care about +1 to hit. Like, it's good on the brutes, but only on the brutes. No one else cares. Like, if you're fighting with Ardboys, you're going 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, rend 1 damage. You're going 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1 damage. Like, it just doesn't matter, you know? The +1 to hit is relevant in lots of builds. It's just not relevant on Ardboys. And if you're playing them, then you can't fit the brutes. Secondly, the primary reason the way this is playing is objective control. Brutes turn off scoring.
That's a super fair point. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things you could potentially do is split these into 2 5-mans for that reason, because then I think this is totally a valid way to play it. Like, if you want to just play according to this game plan, you stick really to it. 2 5-mans, you can split up. You can lend this medium support combat unit, and spread across your various combats, and they hit decently hard. But not if you lose them, you don't really care. But if they're sitting around, they're not people capture objectives at all. Just one of them stays alive, and the opponent cannot take that objective from you in most cases. So that's kind of the plan. And whenever you're building any list, you want to understand what your game plan is and just stick to that game plan very hard. Every single piece of your list has to be going towards that plan. And the plan here is grinding fights and objective control. And Rekkas are decent in grinding fights, but they're really better for burst damage.
Yes.
But they don't really help with the objective control. And they're only good at buffing one unit in the army, which if you use them, you don't have that unit. So that's the reason for no Soggy Rekkas.
What are you buffing with Zogrok?
Usually the brutes. But it's really just kind of whatever's around. So this is very much in the same vein. If you notice, I'm playing Ward Smash and Choppa.
Yes, I was going to ask about that
too.
There's
2 reasons for that. So the tongs are generally what I would advise for people to take. But in this list, I don't really care if I get the buff off. Like, it's nice, but it's not critical to the game plan. Like, if I get off on the brutes, it's cool, but oftentimes if they're fighting, I'm doing fine. I don't really need to kill things quickly.
Well, they tend to be a finisher too, right? Like the brutes are normally going in after you've done some damage, right? And brutes deal enough damage on their own. Without crit mortals, they're still they're still brutes.
Whereas like other builds, your brutes are going in first and blowing something up,
right?
And they have to blow it up, otherwise you're in a bad position. With this build, like, they're finishers. Secondly, smashing off wards makes my terrain piece mortals and my shield bashes way more effective. If you have a 5-up ward, it's pretty darn good against me. Like, I fought Night Haunt in one of my practice games, and they have the ignore the first damage each phase and 5-up wards, and they're healing constantly, and I killed like 2 models the entire game with all those mortals I was doing everywhere, because they were like 5-up warding, and then the first one they fail, they're ignoring each phase, and like all these things, if you smash the wards off them, all of a sudden you're actually doing significant damage. So in this particular build, I think the ward smash is better. I think in most builds, the tongs are better.
Do you have an example of a game that the ward smashing Choppa came in handy and was really good?
Yeah, so I fought Kragnos Pigs, game 2. I had tucked Zagrok between 2 units of Ardboys, in between the terrain pieces. He came in to the center with 2 big monsters. First of all, took some chip mortals, but they didn't do that much damage. And I shield bashed him, did a little bit of damage. He swung in, he killed some guys, and then Zagrok hit Kragnos and broke his ward. And Kragnos only has a 4-up save. So I did some damage there, took some damage coming in, and then all my spears now at Rend 2 because he charged me. So I'm at Rend 2, he no longer has his ward, so he went from a 4-up, 5-up to a 6-up no ward.
Right, and then an all-out attack, and all of a sudden...
If you all-out attack, then he has no save at all. And that's immediately backbreaking. It was super good against Leo. Both times I played with the Stormcast, every time I hit something and removed its sword, units that wouldn't have died instead. And it just makes the chip damage way better. It was good in pretty much all of my games, except for like when I fought Zinch, didn't really matter. And it didn't really matter against my round 1 either when I fought Sylvaneth, because like they just ran away from him mostly. But they just couldn't take primary from me.
Right, because it removes the ward for the rest of the battle.
For the rest of the game.
Yes.
And, you know, these terrain pieces for the rest of the game. And you're sort of stacking these things that aren't super strong right in that moment, but because they last for the rest of the game, it's very, very good. And because I don't really, like, he's fighting a lot, and he's got a 4-up ward, whereas normally he doesn't. So if you're fighting with him, normally he's like pretty high chance he dies.
Well,
4-up ward changes that.
In most lists, he's just a buff piece. If he's in
this list, he's a combat character.
And so like if this was like a regular Ironjawz list or like an Ironjawz tier list or whatever, I would be like, well, if he's in combat, you're losing. So don't, right? Like just don't have him in combat.
I'm actually a proponent of not bringing Zagrok in normal lists. I don't think he's very good.
I don't think he's super good.
Which helps. He's just so many points. Like that same buff in other armies is like 130.
Yeah.
He's like 160, 170, right? I think it's 170.
He's 160. He's the same as a Mega Boss right now.
Oh yeah, he just went down by 10.
Yeah. But he's competing with a lot of other heroes that you want to bring with you.
Or just more units on the table.
Or just more units on the table. There's that too.
Which is useful. Like 160 points. It's 10 points less than a whole unit of 10 Ardboys. And they're significantly more than twice as tanky as him.
Yeah.
And hit harder overall.
Does the Great Wallop on a War Chanter ever come into play? Like, did that matter?
I used it, but it never mattered. There's just nowhere to put it. And I didn't really want my Ardboy boss in combat unless he had to be. And late game, I don't really care if the War Chanters survive once they have their buffs up on things.
Sure. So you can throw it in. Right.
Piling around, getting extra D3 chanting points for fighting, and then like if it works, it works. But it never actually popped. It never went off the entire tournament. I never once did damage with War Chanters. They fought like 30 times.
Yeah.
They did 0 damage the entire tournament.
Yeah.
So.
I remember at the beginning of 4th when I saw the War Chanter, I was like, this might actually be good, guys. Like I don't know, like but I think I was just coping.
Yeah, it was. I mean, War Chanter was like, in my opinion, before like early 4th edition, it was unplayable, and now I think it's gone down to points. And the army's gone down to points. It's actually pretty good, but the Wallopo is really good on a Mega Boss.
Yes.
But it's, like I was saying, like it doesn't fit. It's 10 points short of playing a Mega Boss in this list. If you wanted, like, I was trying to make it work, but you can't quite fit it.
If only you could take a Mega Boss instead of a Zogrock.
Yeah, honestly, it'd be probably, well, the War Special Chop was pretty good, so maybe not, but it'd be good. War Special Chop was good for me in most of my games, but that's just because it's Ironmongers.
Yeah, it's really quite interesting.
Yeah.
Any other last thoughts or any?
I think Trombone had a couple questions. Right?
Well, I mean, he had a bunch, but I mean, a lot of the stuff we talked about already, right? Because they're kind of questions that you think would come up. He asked, like, with such a slow army, how did the reinforced unit of Ardboys perform, right? And we talked about how you could split the Ardboys into 2 different groups, or because, like, to be honest, I think, like, the way that I thought that you would have more reason why you had a reinforced unit of Ardboys instead of it breaking it up into 2. But to me,
there is a reason. There is a reason. It's just a complicated one.
Well, let's hear it.
Yeah, so like there's definitely, I mean, like every single choice you do is very intentional, and it's a personal preference, but there is a reason it's a personal preference, right? So if you watch my game against Leo Bertonen on the stream for the Hobby Collab, you'll get a really good example of why I brought the unit of 20 Ardboys. I put them on one side objective, so I put them on a flank that is not supported by the 10 block of brutes, and 2 10s is actually surprisingly easier to deal with than, or rather 3 10s is easier to deal with than a 20 and a 10. Just
for all-out defense.
All-out defense is really, really good. And like countercharging with 20 models is a lot better than countercharging with 10 models. I'll attack occasionally. Like you can put a Zogrock buff onto them and then like charge it in all attack, and they're actually doing solid damage. It's not crazy damage, but like some of my tests, like I killed Usharon in one of my test games because he had taken a few chip damage here and there. I came in with 20. He swung and killed several of them, but there was still enough that when I had the Zogrock buff on them and the all attack, I ended up finishing him off to the wound, and that would not have worked if I was using several 10-man units, because I would never have all attacked in that situation with 10-man units, and he would have lived. So it's kind of like gives you a little bit more of like a right hook to throw at people, as opposed to a million jabs that this list is normally doing.
Sure.
Without investing too hard into it. The downside is you have less flexibility. It's a little easier to turn off the wards, which definitely also happened in my game against Leo later on in the game, and I was suffering because of it for the same reason it was good in other parts of the game. That's what I mean it's a personal preference, because like there is a very valid argument for both sides of it. I like having this medium threat unit available to me. But it is less survivable in other ways. So it is up in the air which one's better, but I have my very clear reason why I like to use it.
Does the double war chanter run out of targets after the first 2 turns?
If it does, you're winning.
You're right. It's like,
so,
hopefully they do.
Set. Like it's like saying, "Oh, I have all 4 of my manifestations out for Morbid. Now I have no spells left to cast."
And then they can play like a secondary role, right? Like you can throw them away. They can block up. They do have the Great Wallopa, so they can do that, right? Like
and they can
be really aggressive, right?
And like once you have the buffs up, just throw them out there, because they don't do anything for you staying your backline at that point. You don't care if they die.
Well, no, it's the opposite. It's like you try to get them almost into your opponent's backline, because it's like, well, might as well run them up the board and try to get even further terrain.
And they're shockingly hard to deal with at that point, because like if I'm running up the center of the table with one of these guys, let's say it's like super late, it's like round 3, right? And this guy's running up the table all by himself, and he's standing right here.
That's a good boy.
He looks easy to deal with. He is not easy to deal with, because if you come in, he's got all these terrain pieces activated around him. He's moving up the table. He's standing here. If you come in, you're taking a whole bunch of mortals from all these, so you don't really want to do that. And then I'm threatening to like charge in, fight, gets D3 mortals, activate terrain piece in their zone, and now they can't leave. And he's taking these back objectives, and he's being super irritating, and he's really hard to punish, because normally you just go over and kill him. Normally just like whatever, like That's one of the reasons I don't like him normally. Like, oh, he fights, he's just gonna die, and you always want him. Like, but in Zagrox, coming over to deal with him means coming into these auras of damage, and so you don't want to be doing that. So you like once you have your core set up, you just rush him down the table and just start charging stuff. I had against Sylvaneth, it was super funny. He had a bunch of trees on the table, right? So I kept piling in and fighting them, moving the table with it, and getting D3 prayer points from it. And I ended up just activating like a bunch of trees with the Gork stomped, which was pretty funny. So like all of his terrain pieces were stomped by Gork, and if he moved next to them, he's gonna take a ton of mortals. And I was using them to fight and pile in across the table. It was super funny. That was a really comedic situation. But like, yeah, late game, if you once you have your core pieces up, just send them out there and start doing stuff. And like, if they die, they die. They did their job.
Do you feel like you missed Mighty Destroyers?
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah, very much.
My God, if I had Mighty Destroyers, every single game would have been so much easier. Like, and one of the things that like, relate to this, the experience of playing this list is you will be stressed the whole time. Like, this is not a haha garage hammer energy army. It's very nickel and dime.
Yeah.
Very slim margins.
Not gonna lie.
No mistakes allowed.
Yeah.
Like,
I played this army once, because I saw you talking about it, and I was like, I should play some games like this, right? And I played it once, and I kind of hated it. I kind of hated it.
Like, I think most players would. The thing that's fun about it is the mental chess game with your opponent.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play it more. Fun. Right. So
if you're playing it like a super high level, it has a really, really fascinating interaction of mechanics. And when your opponent knows what's going on and you do too, it's very like, you're sitting there going,
Right. How can I move into you? Right.
Exactly. And that's fun. But there's a big tilt factor for your opponent and for yourself. Like, yeah, it's really hard. It's such a stressful army to play that like it's hard to keep a steady mental. Like, because like, you will be like sitting there at bottom of 3 and you're 5 points down and you guys all move 4 inches and you're like, how the hell do I win this game right now?
Yeah, dude, I'm really digging my Krill boys right now. Like for real.
Great. Like, I think for most players, I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend playing Ironmongers. I do think they're good and I enjoy them. But your opponent's also going to kind of hate you.
Oh, it's a 3-up, 5-up? Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and then you're like, take D3, take D3, take D3, take D3, take D3. And it's like old Star. I don't know if you ever played against Croakbomb Seraphon.
Yeah.
It's kind of that. And I'm obviously competing at very serious tournaments, so the energies, that's expected, right? But like, I wouldn't go to an RTT with this because I like to play kind of goober armies a lot of time, and like I even go to a lot of GTs with like silly armies that I'm just trying to have fun with. But if you're playing it like LVO or like World Championship type stuff, you got to bring this stuff, and we're having fun. But like the average player would be like, I kind of want to punch you, like. So
if you want to punch me, it's a 2-up D3 mortals to punch me.
Yeah, every time you punch, you take D3 mortals. Let me shield bash you real quick by stomping on your toe. So it's like, and I usually feel bad if my opponent's not having a great time. I mean, I know if you're losing, it's always, but like some armies it's worse than others. You know what I'm talking about? Like shooting armies. People tend to not like. This is kind of in a way a shooting army, in the sense that like you're taking damage and you're not interacting with me most of the time.
Okay,
all my opponents were great sports, and none of them seemed tilted at all about it. So
at least not at the table.
Not at the table. Maybe afterwards they were like fuming and stomping around like this fucking Ironmonger's army. But
yeah, but at least it's not like the meta army of the day, right? It's not like you know what I mean? It's like, okay, like he had a good plan and he made a good list and he showed up and he like losing to the guy who places 3rd. Like how many people were at LVO? Like was it 200 players this year?
It was in the mid low hundreds actually. It was a lot less than usual, but a pretty competitive field. Yeah, and like a lot of people, because it's the second LVO in the same year, they changed the date. changed the locations, and different stuff, so a lot of people didn't show up, and there was a bunch of other stuff going on.
Yeah, that'll do
but
it.
It should be, but it was still a big field. But it was also like there was like a little bit over 20 like significant threat players out of 120, which normally you'll get like 30 scary players out of 300. So it was actually about twice as competitive in many ways. It was a pretty tough field out there. And then 8 rounds is a lot to play.
So here's one more question for you. Any other tips for how to score your battle tactics and how to deny your opponent's battle tactics?
Yeah, so that's a big part of his denial. Denial. Like you have to be proactively planning. If you see your opponents on scouting, you need to take up the table. Because you don't really have to push at your opponent, just to stop them from scoring their things or coming into you. So you have to like take up all the space that they want to be, and you have to be countercharging or just making it so they can't safely get somewhere to score easy scouting. Some maps you can't stop the first part, but you can absolutely stop the second part. And because you're not an aggressive army, because you are under almost no pressure to go towards your opponent until like the very, very late game, you should just be standing wherever you need to stand. Like the start of your turn is not how do I kill my opponent, it's where do I need to move to stop them from scoring the next battle tactic.
On their side of the table, not giving up objectives. Keep like, what do you pick for your treasures? Like if you have to pick treasures on your side.
The 20 block of Ardboys, because you're never killing that. Like it died in one game, but people tried. That's true, it died. No, yeah, it only died in one game. Even against my Giants, it didn't die. He just ran away from me because he was like, I can't deal with that. And I was like, correct, you cannot. And then usually I pick Zogrock and the 10 birds.
Just because you're trying to protect them and keep them. They don't come into play until later in the game. And then I just play a game
where I score 8, they score 8. I score 8, they score 8. I score 8, they score 8. And my main focus is standing very tightly guarding those units. I never need to score 10 points, because if they score 0 on that tactic and I get 3 tactics of my own, I've won the game already. By 5 points. And that's how this army wins. You like, because it's really like, you can't stop it from getting attuned. If you're trying to stop it from getting attuned, you're gonna hate yourself. You're gonna take so much damage. You're gonna be stuck grinding against the grind army for the rest of the game, and eventually I will get it. So you can't stop me getting the first part of attuned. If you're trying to pin me, I'm gonna get the second half. At some point, I will get Wrathful. I'll be slowly marching across. Like turn 4, I'll get Wrathful. I'll charge it something, steal objective for you for 1 turn, get Wrathful, and get a 7-point swing right there in my favor. And then you now have to manage to both get a tactic and score more than me. And scoring more than me is very hard. Scoring
it's
even's
hard
easy.
In the primary. Yeah.
Scoring more is very hard against this army. Like you're not like I don't know. I couldn't even give you advice on how to take it from me. Like I'm gonna be standing on 3 circles and like one unit, like a war chanted runs out and tags an objective, and now I got Wrathful in that. And I'm even if you get another battle tactic, I'm still 2 points ahead. And this is like bottom of 4. So you have 1 turn to try and hold more than me when I've got all these guys standing everywhere. It's not gonna happen, right? And that's kind of what this army does. So you have to be spending your deployment phase and every movement phase and like all your charge steps. You're not charging to kill stuff. You're charging to stop battle tactics. And it's a really different way of thinking than most people are thinking about, especially Ironjawz players. Because it's not a very Well, it actually is a very Ironjawz way to play, but thematically, it's not how people think about them.
Very true. It's like big pigs, brutes, 3d6 charging, Kragnos. That's what people think Ironjawz is. Mm-hmm. That's what they look like they are on the box.
Whereas Ironjawz is very much... It's very accurate to lore, where they're brutal but cunning. Like, you have to be very cunning about it. And like, you're basically trying to wrestle in the mud, in the pile of mud that the opponent doesn't want to wrestle in.
Right.
And that's what you're doing, and with regular Ironjawz and with this. But this one's way more defensive. This one's just, I stand here.
Yeah.
But it is fun in its own way, and it's very fascinating from like a macro strategic like analysis level of like, I did enter this tournament. One of the big things is I wanted to prove a theory of movement and a theory of approaching this GHB that people were telling me was bad. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not bad. Like, our Persians is strong. And everyone's saying, no, you can't win this way. You can't win this way. Infantry's bad. Infantry's bad. I'm like, infantry's very good. You just have to approach it the right way.
I would have been among them, right? When you said that this is what you were thinking about bringing to LVO, in my mind, like, because I had two thoughts. I'm like, well, Aaron is a better player than me and knows, right? But another thought was like, dude, in 3 days I'm gonna see another message from him that's like, oh, changed my mind, right? And then it's like, nope, right? It's like, yeah, did well.
I chip on my shoulder about it. Honestly, I was like, I got to prove that this can work, because that's what gets me exciting. That gets me going. That's why I like to play weird bad armies. Because I'm like, I like the intellectual exercise of like, can this work? And I'm totally comfortable with losing.
Much better to do that than jump onto the KO bandwagon or something silly.
Yeah,
like that,
for me, I could win, but it wouldn't bring me any joy. And like, nothing wrong against doing that. Like, if you enjoy. If what you like is playing strong armies as competitively as you can, that's totally valid. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah, but it's not very orky. You're an orc.
It's not very orky.
You're an orc through and through.
With it, right?
No, you want a good fight, not an easy fight.
Exactly, and I really enjoy that. And that's a big part of being orcs. And this army does have that aspect. You're slogging it out, and you're playing 5 turns every single game, and every decision you make matters, and every decision they make matters. And it's very much like a grind of endurance, mentally and physically. But it's not for everybody, right? Just every army kind of has that truth. But if you like defensive strategies, if you like tanky, enduring builds that survive and fight to the late game and then try and find an edge in the late game, there's a lot of chess players who like to play like that, for example. If you like that sort of gameplay style, this is a good one for you. It'll give you that it'll scratch that mental itch of like, how do I get out of this? How do I set myself up 3 turns from now? It's very satisfying in that way. And if you're playing against people who enjoy that sort of mental exercise, it's very fun for both players. It's just not beer and pretzel energy.
Well, Aaron, on behalf of me and all the other lads, we're very happy that we can count you among our ranks.
Yeah. And I'm definitely bringing Ironjawz to WCW, which I'm scrambling to find lodging and stuff like that, because I only got my golden ticket just now. So I'm going to bring Ironjawz, probably not at this build. We'll see. I mean, maybe, but it is 4 days of competition, and I don't know if I'll be able to speak from exhaustion if I did that with this. So, but I'll bring something, and hopefully it'll be another interesting build, and y'all can have a new thing to get excited about. And I do think brutes are good, so I might bring a brute thing. We'll see. I love brutes.
Yeah, I think a brute thing could be a thing.
Yeah, I think it can. I just have to figure out the exact build. So. Well,
I can't wait to see it.
For sure. Check out Moss's Discord. I will be posting what I'm working on and stuff like that in there as well. So anyone's looking for advice, feel free to hit me up. I'm always very friendly and very responsive, and try and give information to anyone who wants to know.
Yeah, we got 1,000 people in that Discord now. It's crazy.
I know, it's taken off. I've been seeing your subscriber counts jump up too, which is fucking awesome. You deserve it. You make all these videos, great content. Anybody who likes orcs of any flavor, or any greenskins, there's a lot of really good discussions happening. So I highly recommend it. No,
the Discord is fantastic. There's 1,000 people. I've only had to kick out one person.
Which is
just
awesome. One. That's a 999%.
Well, no, it's great.
99.9% success.
And I can't read everything. There's too much going on, right? I'll be like, 55 missed messages while I was at work today. It's like, okay, no, I can't. Right? But it's like you scroll through and someone's posted a list and people are chatting back and forth and people are doing this and it's like hobby stuff, and it's fantastic. They're an absolutely fantastic community. AOS in general is just a great group of 100% people.
Agree.
Yeah, coming from I know that you play Magic, right? I'm sure you've played competitive Magic. I used to be really big into competitive Magic, and it's it's not even close. I
competed 40K, and I'll tell you, Age of Sigmar is where it's at. The
absolutely
energy is so good. So. Yeah.
Cool, dude. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with us, and I can't wait
Thank you, man.
to talk again.
Always. Definitely. We will soon, I think.
Well, it depends how you do your next tournament, right?
Yeah, exactly. Depends. We'll find out.
Well, even if you do,
Hopefully
even if you don't do as well as you expected, I mean, you're always welcome to come back.
I'm
love to
probably
hear what you
one
have
of
to
the two
say.
people bringing Ironjawz to WCW, so we'll have something to talk about at least.
Absolutely. Cool, dude.
Right.
Thanks again.
Adios.
That was Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Leave your comments, leave your questions for Aaron in the comments. That's where one leaves questions and comments. Like, subscribe, wah.